Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things ready through a common sense lens. And all of us have been expecting and kind of wondering when we're going to see David Cornswet's Superman next, right after the success of the Superman movie. Although at Byte, it's kind of arguable as to whether or not the movie actually made money. Either way, it was the biggest superhero movie of the summer and honestly of the year, hands down. I don't think anybody can even argue that at this point, boys and girls. But at the end of the day, that's where a lot of things are going. A lot of fans are optimistic about the future of DC at this point after a lot of the fans really seem to enjoy the Superman movie. And of course, we know we've got a lot more stuff going on out there. Peacemaker Season 2 is currently premiering right now, and we know that we've got a Supergirl movie coming next year. So the real question is when are we going to see Superman next? Obviously, it's one of them situations where James Gunn has been teasing that although the next Superman movie has already officially been announced, Man of Tomorrow, it's not technically a direct sequel, which means, and as he's already teased, we're going to see Superman again before that movie. Now, obviously, the most obvious answer for that one would be Supergirl movie, right? It would make sense for her cousin to be in there. She already shows up. We know she's involved with the Fortress of Solitude and all of that other kind of stuff from watching the movie out there. So we know he's going to at least end up being in there at some point. But James Gunn's been teasing a whole lot of cameos for towards the end of Peacemaker Season 2. And well, ladies and gentlemen, David himself, our new Superman, has dropped a behind-the-scenes picture from some of the sets out there while they're working on some stuff, and it essentially confirms for a lot of fans out there that we will pretty much undoubtedly see Superman before the end of Peacemaker Season 2. And boys and girls, this isn't just based on a bunch of rumor and speculation. This is essentially what James Gunn has been teasing for quite a while. He said there would be some major cameos in Peacemaker. He already kind of name dropped Guy Gardner and a few others. But of course, if you don't have Big Blue in there, is it really going to matter at the end of the day who else shows up? No, fans want to see more of David Cornswet. That was one of the biggest, although I'll bite, not really a major complaint of my own, is the fact that you didn't see enough of David in the movie. And you know what? This is something that the studios are going to see. This is something they're going to respond to. In an era now where a lot of companies, a lot of creators, and a lot of directors, and even some of the actors are starting to realize you cannot do things without the fans. These executives, these marketing departments really don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, you have to put your ear to the ground. Tom Holland's been saying that for over a year now about how he's been trying to find out about what the Spider-Man fans are really wanting. And now that he's got a little more weight in Hollywood, now that he's been around for a little bit longer, he can actually push for the things that he actually wants, that he believes the fans are wanting from the character. And boys and girls, if Warner Brothers goes down the same path and gives us more Superman, I'll think a lot of the DC fanboys, myself included, are going to eat it up because he's done a great job as Superman so far. So we're going to check this article from ScreenRant.com, but we're also going to jump over to, of course, Screen Crush, because there's an interesting little tidbit that they add into this that I think is fascinating. And yes, I know, Screen Rant, Access Media, yada, yada, yada. This stuff just literally dropped this morning at the time of the recording of this, and Screen Rant was just the first one, and Screen Crush of an article that I found going over all of this stuff. And I don't think you guys just wanted Common Nerd to rant for 15 minutes, all going around the single picture that we have brought out there. So we're going to check out all these articles. We're going to get into all the juicy details of exactly what's going on, and even DC Studios' official Instagram account's own response to this picture as well. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100. We're sailing towards 100,000. I think we're sitting at like 2,183, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let me know what do you think about all this. This is going to actually make you watch Peacemaker Season 2? If David does end up showing up, if we get a proper Superman cameo, will you just go out and watch that one episode, or are you going to give Peacemaker Season 2 a chance, despite some of the interesting things we've heard about it online so far? Did you enjoy Superman? Are you cautiously optimistic? Are you excited for the future of the DC universe? Or are you just all completely and totally done with this stuff? Let us know what you think about that in the comment section down below. As always, all opinions are welcome. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, boys and girls, we're going to start over on Screen Rant, and then we will jump over to Screen Crush as well before we jump back over here to finish a few things off. But, boys and girls, there's a picture that has gone around the internet that is causing DC fans out there to have themselves a proper tizzy, and I, for one, am all about it. New Peacemaker and Superman behind-the-scenes image fuels Cameo speculation. Boys and girls, We know these guys know how to use their marketing. We know what they're doing with this. This is essentially confirming he's going to be in it because guess what? If you tease something like this and a bunch of fans jump on and watch Peacemaker and Superman never shows up, you going to have some seriously nasty backlash and some nasty comments. And honestly, I don't even think they're this dumb at that point. David Cornswet's second Superman appearance in the DC universe for 2025 just became a lot more likely thanks to a new Peacemaker Season 2 update. As the DCU's Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, is underway, the second TV show in James Gunn's superhero universe is currently the prime focus with John Cena's Peacemaker series, which carried over from the DCEU era. Obviously, there's a few things from the first season that ain't exactly going to be canon anymore. Cena, who had a brief cameo as Peacemaker in James Gunn's 2025 film, I mean, it's literally kind of one of those blink and you miss it moments, may now possibly be getting a visit from the Man of Steel himself in his television series. Following the release of Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 3 this week, Cornswet shared a new on-set photo with both of them being in costume as their respective characters. This photo of the two DCU stars was taken 1 week before the Superman movie wrapped. Principal photography on July 30th, 2024. 5 episodes remain of Peacemaker Season 2, which was released on Thursdays, yada, yada, yada. Several characters in the DCU film have already appeared in the new season, including Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Maxwell Lord in the season premiere. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump over here and look at the picture in all of its glory. Now, they're saying it's speculation, but let's be honest about this one here. If this thing was taken all the way back in July, a week before things were wrapped on the Superman movie, why would you just now release it now? Why wouldn't you maybe use this as part of the promotional material and the teases out there before the movie came out? Because honestly, Peacemaker, although not some breakaway hit by any means, it's doing okay, especially for modern streaming numbers right going on out there right now. It did all right, and the second season's doing pretty good too. But at the end of the day, this would have been more to see that, yay, John Cena will make something up. He will end up being in there. So why wouldn't you have used that as part of the marketing? Why would you now only drop this? Now, what are we, 3 episodes into Peacemaker Season 2? It's because he's going to show up. Now, the real question is, how soon is he going to show up? Did they intentionally drop this in right after Episode 3, as in leading up to Episode 4, right? Because Episode 3 at the time of this recording just premiered last night, right? So does that mean now, next week, we're going to get David Cornswet Superman? I don't know, but these people aren't stupid when it comes to their marketing. They have learned a lot of lessons over the last few years as to how and how not to market movies and television shows, given it cost them tens of billions of dollars in losses, as they rightly deserved. But at the end of the day, at least a few people out there have learned a couple of lessons. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to jump over to Screen Crush, though, as well. Because the DC Universe's, or the DC Studios' official Instagram account responded as well. The Superman star's cryptic post, which was uploaded with no caption or context, received an even more cryptic response from the official DC Instagram account, who simply commented under the photo with a very telling pair of eye-peeking emojis. We see you, DC. Exactly, right? Ooh, right? Because if they weren't involved, if they didn't know about this, if this wasn't completely and totally planned by the marketing team, the DC Studios official account would have completely and totally ignored this. Now fans are wondering if this means Superman will fly in for an appearance in an upcoming episode of Peacemaker. The Cornswets is time-stamped with July 23rd. However, in August, during the rollout of Peacemaker Season 2, showrunner and DC studio co-head James Gunn teased some major twists and turns to come in the forthcoming finale 3 episode of the show's second season. Gunn also confirmed that Season 2 directly sets up the upcoming and newly announced Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow. He made the revelation while responding to a fan's comment under his Instagram post calling Peacemaker Season 2 the Man of Tomorrow prequel. right? And obviously we already know several of the characters from the Superman movie are already in it. This is more of that world building. Now, despite some of the interesting things we've heard about Peacemaker season 2 out there is supposed to be a lot of world building. James Gunn has already implied heavily that they are expanding and will add more world building and to the overall DC universe that they're trying to create and set up. Cena's Peacemaker makes a quick but memorable cameo in 2025 Superman, which was released on July 11th. The violent vigilante briefly appears during a news segment during which he trash talks the superhero. Within the next few weeks, we'll find out if Cornswet ends up being a premiere out there. One of the driving factors in the Peacemaker season 2 story is the alternate dimensions, which was a big plot in which were a big plot in the Cornswet movie. Not really, other than like Lex Luthor made himself like a little alternate pocket dimension, right? It's not like we were doing alternate dimensions with like alternate versions of characters and stuff like that, which it sounds like that is much more what Peacemaker is doing. So not exactly the same thing here, but whatever, Screen Rant. This is why nobody really uses you anymore for things for the most part. That justifies why Man of Tomorrow would show up in Christopher Smith's DC TV show. Most likely in the finale. That would be a natural point for him to make a cameo at the end of the season. Since Gunn was working on the TV show and movie at the same time, which were both shot at the Trilla Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, a cameo appearance would have been incredibly easy to work in, if not a full-blown, flat-out scene, let's be honest. Cornswet's photo is also sold marketing for Peacemaker Season 2 as it's getting ready to cross the midpoint of the season. At this point, if Cornswet didn't have a cameo in the DC hero at the end of the season, it would have been a wasted opportunity to not use the momentum that that comic book film created for him in 2025. As DC Studios just announced the Man of Tomorrow movies in the works, the actor sharing this photo is only proper timing. And yes, it would be stupid and it would garner them a lot of fan backlash and would also cause them a loss of a lot of trust as well. And that's the last thing any studio can handle right now. The bigger question is, however, is whether Cornswet's Superman will only have a brief appearance or perhaps a guest starring role. If Krypton's last son shows up in Peacemaker Season 2, it will be fascinating to see how he fits into the story. And honestly, if you want a little fan speculation from your humble common nerd out here who is by all means no expert on anything, I think they will work him in a little bit more because kind of what they've been doing, this is what they set up in the movie, this is what they teased with all the marketing of the movie beforehand and everything else, is we're doing a reverse Kingdom Come here, right? Superman is being introduced into a world that already has established superheroes. And for better or worse, some of them aren't actually the very nicest of guys. Obviously, everybody knows Guy Gardner. We also saw the Authority in the Superman movie. We see how they act. Of course, Lex Luthor, there's thugs out there doing his willing, claiming to be the good guys of the superheroes out there, right? And then, of course, we see David come in. You see him come in and be the Boy Scout, right? He does what is right because he thinks it's right, no matter what anybody else thinks about it. He is living by his own morals, his own standards. And that would make sense for him to come into Peacemaker. But even though with the way Peacemaker is, the way he acts and that kind of stuff, Superman is definitely a good character to come in and kind of put him in his place. Obviously, Peacemaker is not going to be able to come toe-to-toe with Superman in any world out there in any way, shape, or form. Superman would absolutely mop the floor with him. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that. Hopefully, you kind of get a scene where Peacemaker tries to do something like that, tries to go, listen to here, Boy Scout. You don't get to come in here and tell me what to do, and tries to, shove him and he literally just doesn't move and he continues to try to do it. And then Superman just kind of flicks him away. I think that would be perfect. As to whether or not they're actually smart enough to do something like that, I have no idea. But boys and girls, at the end of the day, let's be honest here. There's no speculation needed for this. Okay, they know how they've been marketing. I mean, for better or worse, at least in my personal opinion, I think James Gunn has been an absolute marketing genius to the lead up of Superman. Do I think some of the trailers and some of the decisions made with those and some of the releases of massive clips report decisions? Absolutely. But teases like this, pictures, whether it be a picture of a lot of the cast reading proper Silver and Golden Age versions of Superman out there, or whether it be his interactions on Instagram and little teases that he's been dropping and stuff like this, okay? If this would have not been a confirmation, have not been an absolute giant, massive tease of Superman showing up in the Peacemaker show out there, then this is just absolutely stupid. And that means somebody else has taken over marketing and they've become completely and totally retarded. I don't think that's the case. Superman is going to show up in Peacemaker Season 2. The real question is when? Because it's only a matter of time before he goes there. And if they decide to do this as nothing more than an absolute smokescreen, if there's nothing more than false drumming up excitement for Peacemaker, the backlash will turn an already very tainted and jaded audience even more on you, and things will only be even more downhill. But as of right now, I don't believe that's the case. I believe this is nothing more than confirmation from the marketing team over there at DC saying that yes, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Superman will at least make a cameo, if not have a full-blown guest starring role in Peacemaker Season 2. And boys and girls, I, for one, cannot wait. Do a good job, make the fans happy, and we'll give you a very successful DC universe. Tease us, be ridiculous, and treat us like we're morons, and we'll watch you burn down in flames just like the rest of Hollywood. Boys and girls, for me anyway, it looks like the DC universe has a very positive outlook as of right now, and I, for one, cannot wait to watch Superman put Peacemaker in his proper place. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.